There's an easy way to know if it's a good time to deer hunt. First, check your wildlife agency's website to determine if the season is even open. If the answer is yes, then it's a good time to hunt. I say that somewhat jokingly, but the fact is there really is never a bad time to be in the woods. However, some times are certainly more productive than others when it comes to actually seeing deer. Whitetails are crepuscular, which is a fancy way of saying that they are most active at dawn and dusk. So, most hunters focus their efforts on the first and last few hours of daylight. In the morning, deer are typically moving from nighttime feeding locations back to the cover of their bedding areas. And late in the evening, they do just the opposite. That's not to say you can't see deer moving right in the middle of the day. It just means the odds are better when deer are traditionally more active. The hunting season can be broken down into 4 basic periods, 3 of which center around the whitetail's breeding period called the rut. These periods are the early season, pre-rut, rut, and post-rut. As far as which of these is the best to hunt, it's really a matter of personal preference. Each has its own distinct advantages and disadvantages, as well as unique approaches to even finding deer. Deer have to move and feed daily throughout the season, so there's always a chance to see and successfully hunt deer. The early season can be a great time to put venison in the freezer because deer haven't been pressured yet and are more predictable. If you can key in on the preferred food sources of late summer, you have good odds of being successful. For most of the whitetails range, October kicks off the pre-rut. Hunting in the first half of this month can be tough, however, because deer are transitioning from summer to fall foods, and in some cases have already started changing their patterns due to hunting pressure. If you don't adapt, your odds of seeing and harvesting deer may go down. The rut is by far the favorite time of year for most deer hunters. That's because it's highlighted by rubs, scrapes, bucks fighting, and ultimately chasing and breeding does. Food is no longer the driving influence on their behavior. This is one time of year when even the wisest of bucks might let his guard down and throw caution to the wind. And since bucks are up on their feet, much more visible and covering a lot of ground in search of receptive does, it's really a great time to spend an entire day in the stand. However, the rut can take a physical toll on deer. With winter right around the corner, they have to replenish their reserves by once again turning their attention to food. As the weather gets colder, deer will begin to group back up, food is more scarce, and as a result, deer become more predictable. Just as during the early season, key in on their main food sources for your best chance of getting within shooting range. While weather factors such as temperature, wind, rain, and snow may affect your desire to be in the woods, research has actually not been able to link any of these factors to deer movement. In fact, studies indicate that regardless of these things, deer are still most active at dawn and dusk. The same holds true with the moon. Studies have repeatedly shown that the moon phase does not affect the timing of the rut. And in fact, contrary to popular belief, moon phase likely has little to no impact on deer movements at all. So don't let weather or moon phase keep you from hunting an otherwise good day to be in the woods. You could probably tell from some of my comments that our presence is actually felt by the deer we're pursuing. It's true. Research has shown deer react negatively to hunting pressure and will avoid heavily hunted areas. It can take several days for deer activity to actually recover from the effects of just 1 or 2 days of a hunter's presence. So, how often and when should you hunt? This really depends on the amount of hunting land to which you have access and if other folks are hunting it too. If you only have permission to hunt a small property with 1 or 2 stand locations, then you don't want to hunt those same stands every day. The best way to prevent this is to have multiple stand locations so that you can spread out your presence and have more opportunities to be in the woods. If you're hunting public land or private land that others have permission to hunt on, consider how pressure from these other hunters may affect the best times to hunt as well. Since many hunters are limited to hunting the weekends due to work obligations, weekdays can be a great time to have the woods all to yourself. Mid to late week can be especially good, as deer have to have time to recover from the weekend hunting pressure and return to their normal travel patterns. Also, allow plenty of time to get to your stand and get set up before you actually start hunting for a morning sit. In the afternoon, don't get down and leave before the end of legal shooting light. Remember, deer are crepuscular and they will be often moving right around daybreak or wait until the last light to move in the evening. Chances are your commitments to work, family or friends, or other activities will limit the time you get to spend in the woods too. So when the opportunity presents itself, Don't miss out on a deer hunt just because it's too warm, it's a full moon, or because the rut is over or hasn't even started yet. Get out there and enjoy your time in nature and use the opportunity to learn all you can about the land you hunt. In the end, whether you fill your deer tag or not, you'll be a better hunter for it. For more information about all things deer hunting, including other hunting strategies, check out the Quality Deer Management Association at qdma.com.